Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today I have a very exciting review for you all. And this is a figure that I have been hyping up for quite a while, many months, as these were unveiled randomly on the internet, or at least that's where I first saw them a few months ago, and I was immediately sold, immediately beyond excited about these figures, because personally I am a huge fan of vintage dinosaurs. I have been my entire life. Since I grew up on the vintage style look of dinosaurs, it's always very nostalgic for me, has that feeling that takes me straight back to childhood, which is always something that is a fun trip to go on down memory lane, and that is exactly what we find here with this Dinomation Tyrannosaurus Rex. This looks amazing here at first glance, as does the box. The box is absolutely phenomenal. Really beautiful image of the Rex here on the front, very vintage looking, even with the overall style of the box and the beautiful red background, giving the Rex kind of an evil appearance and at the same time that very vintage prehistoric feel. These are actually created by a company that you can see right here. I'm not entirely sure how to say the name, but I'm going to assume it's Gecco. But I could be wrong, and I do apologize to them if I state their name incorrectly. But you can also see Dinomation, Tyrannosaurus pre-painted statue, and this absolutely gorgeous image once again here on the front. And then down at the bottom, you can see Dinomation, the retro style, down there as well. As far as the box goes, it is, like I said, fantastic. You can see Tyrannosaurus pre-painted statue over here. Again, the same image that we saw on the front. And then the Dinomation logo up there. And then we have the side of the box over here that has quite a bit of information. And you can see that as far as the lineup goes, you've got the series number 1, which is the Tyrannosaurus, which we will be reviewing today. And then series 2 is the extremely cool looking Spinosaurus to come later on. And then over here we actually have quite a bit of information on the sculptor and painter's profile. All sorts of information about the sculptor himself, giving you some background on who created this beautiful statue, and then you've got some more information on the entire thing overall right here. And then on the actual bottom of the box, you've again got lots of information all over the place along with the barcode there, but you've also got some more information on the statue again and the entire idea behind the line, which I did read and is quite interesting to read. Really awesome stuff overall. So I have been waiting again a long time for this statue, so I am extremely impatient to get it out and take a look at it. So let's break it out of the box right now. First of all, the box is wonderfully padded, very nicely padded, keeps it nice and safe. But interestingly enough, as soon as I open the box, we've got a very cool card of the Tyrannosaurus right here taped to the top. So that is awesome. Really love anytime a company includes a card, especially when it's a card of a beautiful vintage Rex like this. So as we open this up, you can see again it is very well protected with a very nice foam prison, and inside is our dinosaur hiding down there. So let's pull him out of the box and then we'll get a look at him from there. So once we open the box up and we actually pull the card out, you can see it's really beautiful looking, has a wonderful gloss finish to the card. And then if we turn the card around and take a look at the back, it's got some information once again on the statue itself, and then some information on the entire idea behind this Dinomation line. So awesome card, awesome addition to this set. So here is our base, and at first glance of the base, it definitely looks really cool. Has kind of like a desert-like appearance to it, and a deceased dinosaur, which I'm sure at one point in time was the prey to our Tyrannosaurus Rex right there. And then here is our actual Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it is beyond beautiful. Straight away, I am extremely impressed by the paint job of the figure. Of course, we've seen the sculpt for many months, but every time, I know as far as I'm concerned, every time I purchase a resin model, I'm always interested in what the paint job will look like, because a lot of the time you get paint jobs that don't quite match up or don't quite add up to what you see in the promotional images. But as far as this Rex goes, honestly, I think it looks great. Really beautifully translated from the prototype to the actual factory released figure, or statue, I guess I should say. So that is a huge plus for anybody that was wondering how the paint of this Rex would turn out. It is absolutely beautiful. And one thing that I'm going to say straight away that is interesting and very cool about this, if we look at the base, you can see there's no peg holes or anything, no peg holes on the feet, but you might be able to take note to those little circles there. So I'm going to assume that this is magnetic, because that's probably the only way this is going to stay on the base, unless it just stands there. So if we put our Rex here on the base, yes, it is magnetic. So there we go. I absolutely love when companies do that, when they create magnetic bases, similar to what Memory Museum does. They do the same similar style where they include a magnet in the foot of the figure to connect to the base. I really think it's a great, very innovative decision to do it that way. And actually, look at how tough that is, how strong those magnets are. The base actually stays connected to the dinosaur if we pick the dinosaur up alone. So I have waited quite a while to actually get a look at this. I am beyond blown away already looking at it right here, but the only way to truly tell how beautiful this is with a closer look, so let's do that right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt looks about as vintage of a Tyrannosaurus Rex as you're ever going to find. Extremely cool, super old school looking head sculpt. I really love it. Beautiful, very large scaling all over here in the lower jaw, and even the scaling honestly kind of has like a vintage look to it, which is really cool. The detail up here on the top of the head and the palate and snout area all looks really cool. There's lots of bumps all over the dinosaur, kind of like an osteoderm like appearance, and you can also see some really nice color variation all throughout the head. Beautiful tones of color. Like I said, the paint job translated beautifully from the prototype over to the final product. The teeth are painted quite nicely with like a yellowish color, so they have that very realistic appearance to the teeth overall. They also are glossed quite nicely, and you can see it as I'm turning the dinosaur that they really do shine quite realistically, like a real animal's teeth probably would. They've painted them really nicely as well, giving it like a brown in certain areas to show that the Rex's teeth aren't very clean. They're definitely not the most well-maintained as far as hygiene goes. He does not brush, that is for certain. You can also see that the actual mouth has been kind of painted with like a darker coloration within, and I think that highlights the mouth really nicely. Definitely gives it a very cool appearance and really brings out the mouth area and makes it kind of jump out at you. The eyes are painted really nicely with like an orangish color, and then there's a yellow eye and then a black pupil, and they are painted really beautifully, no sloppiness whatsoever. They are also glossed and shine quite realistically. So the overall attempt at realism on this very vintage looking Rex is beautifully done, especially when it comes to the use of gloss coat in areas that should have it, like the eyes and teeth. It looks great. You can see the nostrils sculpted out up here at the snout, and then again some more very nice color variation as we lead back into the top of the head. Lots of very nice usages of browns all over. Really gorgeous paintwork on the figure, and again, being a vintage Rex, you're not going to get any type of a very flashy paint scheme or anything. You're going to get that very old school, dull dinosaur type of a look, like more often than not you always saw them portrayed as, and I really think that they've hit that perfectly here. 100% nailed that for sure. Lots of beautiful color variation and incredible sculpt on this side as well. Even the detailing around the eye is phenomenal. I love this figure already. Again, beautiful variations of brown all throughout. You can see it changing gradually, transition back and forth between different areas and different shades of brown so realistically, so beautifully. Even right here, there's like this dark brown area, and then it transitions to a little bit of a lighter brown, and then you've got alternate variations of color back here into the head, even areas of like a greenish color sort of sticking out. Really beautiful, very large scale work here again in the back of the head leading down the neck. Look at that very cool, super old school style sculpt as far as these scales go. You've also got a lot of hanging skin here in the throat of the Rex, and that's one thing that I feel like was more often than not always associated with Rex back in the day. Whenever I look back into old books and everything, you would more often see a Rex kind of having like that hanging skin in the throat, so I'm really happy that they added that in, because it's something that I feel like is really nicely associated with the vintage style of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you lead down the neck, you can really get a sense of the movement of the dinosaur as well. Lots of skin wrinkling, especially the closer you get here to the base of the neck. It wrinkles quite a bit there, and it looks really nice, very beautifully sculpted. Again, nice scale work all throughout the stomach region and the shoulder area. You can see the shoulder blade there. protruding from the skin as you move down into the arms. The arms are nice and small like we would expect them to be. Really nicely painted nails, and you could probably take note as I'm turning it that the nails are glossed and are shining. Again, quite nicely, quite realistically. So even though it's an ode to the old school, they still have gone the route of making sure that it looks fairly realistic as far as different areas that would include gloss coats and just the overall paint job for sure. The really nice, very realistic skin tone is definitely something to be admired for sure as far as this statue goes. You can see as I turn this, you can take note of the rib cage right there in the stomach. Look at all the beautiful skin folding and skin wrinkling going on down here in the stomach. It's actually really quite incredible, and it's beautifully sculpted. You can also see kind of that skin texture and the skin folding being pushed up here in the stomach region as this leg is pushing into the stomach, beautifully displaying the movement of the dinosaur. Up here in the back, you've got these very nice osteoderms that are painted with like an orangish color, and they lead down the back. They look really cool. You can see that they're all different sizes, all different scales, I guess you could say, as far as the overall appearance goes to those scutes or osteoderms, the ridges that run along the back. As we get down here into the leg, you can see the hip bone right there. You can also see the beautiful sculpt work of the legs. I think the legs are one of the most beautifully sculpted areas on this Rex, although the entire thing overall is absolutely jam-packed with incredible sculpt work. But the legs specifically has such a cool appearance, and the paintwork there kind of defining the musculature looks so cool the way they've done that. And you can again see that very vintage look to the scales. The scales had that really, really old school look to them, just like we saw up on the back of the head and the neck area. I really love the scale work, and there's a nice dark wash in certain areas that has brought out that detail wonderfully. Again, like I said, really nice muscle tone present there. Very large bulging calf muscles as well. You can see the kneecap there in the front, and then as we lead down into the super nice looking foot sculpt, you've got that scoot-like appearance that runs along the toes, and the beautifully painted nails on the feet, once again glossed to perfection, and they are painted with a nice blackish coloration. They appear to have maybe a little bit of a dry brushing done over top to bring that detailing out. You can also see over here that the dew claw is present, is also painted. Then once we move back up here into the body, you can start to run out into the very large, very thick tail that of course is dragging on the ground, or is supposed to appear as though it might be, and it looks incredibly cool. Lots of skin wrinklings, lots of creases as we run out the length of the tail. The skin texture also looks beautiful. I really love the scaling right there in that area, but as you run out the length of the tail, you can see lots of really nice coloration as well. Beautiful washes that have been included, and there's many variations of color throughout. It makes it look extremely realistic. You can also take note to those ridges that run along the top of the tail that lead down from the mid-back area, actually closer to the shoulders, I think. So like the shoulder area, and it leads down the entire body and then down the spinal column of the dinosaur. And then it comes down into this very cool curve to the tail. Looks pretty much straight out of a book that I would have read when I was a child, and the color variation on the underside is really, really incredible. Look as I'm turning this, how much paint application is included here on the underside of the dinosaur, and they even have a cloaca on the underside. How about that for absolutely incredible details added to something like this that help again to make it look extremely realistic as we lead into the stomach. Just look at that incredible sculpt work, but also the incredible paint work. That is just breathtaking, incredibly gorgeous work here on the part of these Dinomation statues. Again, up here on the neck, we see that same style of sculpt that we saw on the other side, where it starts to wrinkle and kind of bunch up the skin as we get closer to the base of the neck. You can also see the arms are sculpted quite nicely over here. Very nice skin detail here all in this general area, and again, lots of skin wrinkling. Look at the incredible amount of skin wrinkles all over the body of this Tyrannosaurus Rex. Very nicely sculpted out and elaborated rib cage there, and again the really beautiful old school style of sculpt for the skin texture and the scales. You've got some osteoderms here and there. Again, really nice paint variation as we lead down the body. The color tones on this may be more realistic, I think, than possibly any other sculpture I have in my collection currently. The paintwork is honestly mind-blowing on this. Very nicely sculpted out hip bone, and again, the musculature is really nicely defined with a wash and like a light kind of a reddish brown right there. It looks extremely cool, As we lead down the body, you can again see some more skin wrinkling going on here in the joint of the knee, especially where it's bending as this leg is leading behind, this leg is taking a step forward, and you can also see the skin stretching off of the body there very realistically. Again, a nice wash included, bringing out the detail beautifully as we lead down into that incredible looking foot sculpt. And again, the nails are painted with absolute perfection. There is no sloppiness anywhere on this figure as far as the paintwork goes. And then we lead up here into the tail, and again, look at the incredible detailing here of the skin wrinkling and skin bunching up. That is just ridiculously nice. And then we lead out the tail. Again, you get those very cool creases in the skin that have that nice wash included, bringing the detail out beautifully as we lead out to that very nice curve in the tail. It is unbelievable. The sculpt, detail, paint, everything on this Rex is just beyond fantastic. And then looking at the base, you can see the base is really nicely detailed as well. It looks legit, about as legit as it gets when it comes to looking like a very nice, very earthy type of a texture. Again, similar to what you would see in like a dried up desert sort of an area. It looks very rough and kind of has the appearance as though there's lots of cracks appearing. You can see cracks coming off of the edges and everything. You've got areas like this that appear to have some like down broken logs and everything. And then over here, the deceased corpse of a dinosaur. Not sure what species that would be considered, but it's definitely dead. We know that much for sure. The paintwork of the base is also fantastic. Again, really nice tones of color all throughout, giving it an extremely realistic appearance. You can see the footprints of the Tyrannosaurus Rex there as well, which is always cool to see. Basically representing the terrain where this old school vintage Tyrannosaurus Rex once ruled. And I love the base. Absolutely beautiful addition to the set. And then the underside of the base has these very nice rubber circles that help to keep it stable, keep it in place, and not damage whatever you put it on. And then it does say Tyrannosaurus pre-painted statue. And then it also lists the sculptor and painter's name. And then, of course, Gecco, the company that produces these Dinomation statues. Beautiful, beautiful base. Beautiful Tyrannosaurus Rex as well. This set is just out of this world as far as how much I absolutely love it. And then again, just like I showed you guys earlier, to apply your Rex to the base, you just have to find the magnets, and it lands perfectly within the footprints and stands beautifully. It can actually stand even without the base, though. It can stand perfectly again without the base, so if you don't want to include the base when you are displaying your Tyrannosaurus Rex, you don't have to. However, I think the base really completes the overall appearance, the overall scene, and again, looks fantastic with the two combined. For a size on our Tyrannosaurus Rex, from the ground to the top of the head, you're looking at a little bit over 7 inches, maybe close to 7¼ inches, or about 18.5 centimeters, somewhere in that range. And then for a length from the tail to the tip of the snout, about 11 inches or 28 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon, all getting nice and close and loving up on our vintage Dinomation Tyrannosaurus Rex, but also helping to give you an idea that the statue isn't enormous. It's definitely not extremely large, but honestly, it's a really nice size. Definitely a very conveniently sized statue for sure. It's not something that's going to be too immense and take up too much room in your collection so that you can't actually purchase one and display it, but it's also not too small that it will not look impressive, because trust me, it's a perfect mix of impressive and size combined into one beautiful model. So this Dinomation Tyrannosaurus Rex from Gecco is everything that I thought it would be and then some. It is beautiful in person. I have been an extremely big fan of the vintage style dinosaur because it's what I grew up on. It's what I saw dinosaurs being portrayed as the entire time of my childhood. It's the type of toys that I collected, the type of movies that I watched, and that is 100% brought into existence right here in this statue. It looks beautiful, exactly the type of thing that I would have expected to have seen in like stop motion films and dinosaur films that I watched as a kid. This is exactly what I would expect the Tyrannosaurus Rex to look like, so I always have a very soft spot in my heart for this type of a look, and it honestly takes me straight back to my childhood, which is always a good thing. It's always great to revisit your childhood, things you loved when you were a kid, and have that brought back as an adult, and that is, again, what the definition, I would say, of this Dinomation Tyrannosaurus Rex is, as far as I'm concerned. It is everything that my childhood embraced when it came to dinosaurs, so I absolutely love the overall appearance to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It is phenomenal as far as the sculpt goes. The detailing of this dinosaur is about as top-notch as you're ever going to find. Every ounce of this dinosaur is insanely highly detailed, and again, perfectly portraying that old school Tyrannosaurus Rex in every possible way, even including things like that skin, that hanging skin in the throat, which was always something that you saw associated with Tyrannosaurus Rex back when I was younger. So I really love that addition. I think that the sculpt overall is fantastic. The paintwork is next level as far as I'm concerned. It is incredible looking in person, and honestly, the only way I can really justify it is by telling you to buy one, get it in person, and take a look at it, and then you'll really be able to appreciate just how much incredible paint application is included in this Dinomation Tyrannosaurus Rex, because it is unbelievable. There are so many different variations of color, so many different variations of tones of color that make it look so real, so lifelike. It pretty much looks like I took a dinosaur from a movie that I would watch when I was a kid, brought it to life, then shrunk it down to a very small size, and I now have it sitting right here in front of me. That is exactly the type of feeling I get looking at it. Even the beautiful gloss coat on the eyes makes the eyes look genuinely alive and very, very realistic. This Dinomation statue is fantastic. The base is beautiful, really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted, and the usage of the magnets to connect the Tyrannosaurus to the base is also another thing that I absolutely love about this statue. I really love continuously every time a company releases something like that where the dinosaur connects to the base with magnets. I think it's so convenient and works so well that I just absolutely adore the magnet connecting to the base style, and I'm so glad that's the route they went with. Pegs work pretty good, but honestly, if you can get away with magnets, I really feel like that's the best way to connect your dinosaur to the base. And you can see just how stable this one is specifically, because I can actually pick the dinosaur up off of the table and it stays connected to the base, showing you just how strong those magnets are overall. So this set is a 110% win as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely love this. So if you would like to pick one up for yourself, I will include a link in the description to Sideshow, where you can do just that, along with BigBadToyStore.com, because both of those websites currently have this and the Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus, of course, is currently up for pre-order. So again, if you would like to pick this up, make sure you head down to the description, follow those links to one of those two websites, place your order for this beautiful Dinomation Tyrannosaurus Rex today. But before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.